Okay, good evening, everybody. I am Stephanie Mize, and I'm so excited to have you guys on here. Tonight, Tammy and I are going to talk about objections because we all get them. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. It doesn't matter what your rank is or how big your team is. We all get objections. So raise your hand if you've ever gotten an objection. I want to see them all up. Yes, exactly. Because we all have. But there is a science to actually handling those objections. And I remember when I first started, Teresa Epps was actually our regional sales director at the time, and she taught us Feel, Felt, Found. And I love Feel, Felt, Found. Like for me personally, like somebody can give me an objection, and I can immediately rattle off, like I can use the Feel, Felt, Found formula and immediately rattle off something in relation to their objection. But we were talking today, and let's say you get past that point. So let's say that you get to the point where let's say that they say, I don't have enough time. And if somebody were to tell me, well, I really don't have the time to build a business, I would say, you know what? I completely understand how you feel, because I felt the exact same way. But what I found is that it was important enough for me to build a business to provide for my kids so that I could be home with them, or whatever the case is. So I can immediately rattle that off. But what's more important is to continue asking questions. And so that's really what Tammy and I want to talk about tonight, because the Feel, Felt, Found is a very important piece. But sometimes, even if I were to say, but what I found was XYZ, whatever my story is, or however I can relate to them, a lot of times people just stop there and they don't go any further. And has anybody here ever looked in the back office and actually looked at the objections guide, overcoming objections? Yeah, it's a very useful tool. It literally has every objection. I think that probably 90% of the objections. And so the way that it is laid out, for those of you that have not seen it, it has the objection. So they just call it a common concern and hesitation. And then that's where you come in and you kind of relate to whatever their objection is. So, didn't have enough time. If that was their objection, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. But what I found is XYZ, right? But in addition to that, you want to ask more questions, because by asking more questions, you're going to get to the root cause of what that objection actually is. And so they call it overcoming objections, guiding to a decision. And so it actually gives you, it instructs you, it guides you on the additional questions that you need to ask. And again, these are just ideas. So if you are having a conversation with somebody, you might not be able to rattle that objection, or you might not be able to rattle that response right off the top of your head. But it's something that, like anything, like you have to practice that muscle, right? It's that muscle memory. And so the more that you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And so what Tammy and I wanted to do is kind of go through that. And then if anybody has any objections that you always get, or there is something that you're like, oh my gosh, every time I talk to somebody about money, I hear this exact same thing. If it's something that we don't address, we would love for you guys to kind of throw that, throw that at us so we can go back and forth. Tammy, did you want to add to that?
Yes, I was just going to ask that I have always, since Teresa, oh my goodness, sorry, my dogs are barging in. I love that Feel, Felt, Found, because it is so easy to immediately respond to them and engage with them. But I've seen so many times where people just kind of stop there, because after you say how you found and what you experienced, it does kind of stop there. So in doing this, it might feel very awkward at first. And if you're not prospecting and talking to people, your exposures and your practice to doing this might be long windows in between. So one of the things that I would suggest you doing is getting with other market partners and just practice and role playing to where it becomes comfortable for you, and you develop that posture and that confidence when you're talking, instead of sometimes, especially if you're in front of someone, they can kind of feel your body, right? Like tensing up. And so you've got to build that posture and that confidence by practicing, whether it's you practicing in your mirror, practicing with your husband, practicing with other market partners, getting that information down, because truly most of you probably know what to say, but you're just scared in the moment. So practicing this ahead of time, spending some time doing it before you actually make that phone call or whatever, will help tremendously.
Yes, absolutely. And I love what Tammy said, like practice. You guys, like I said, it's that muscle memory. And so the more you do it, the more confident you're going to feel about it and the better you're going to get at it. I was trying to pull up we're having bad weather and my internet keeps acting weird. So I know somebody had commented an objection on there and I was trying to find it. It was actually you, Pat. So thank you.
I have them. Can you get it? I've got the other post too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't pull it up. Oh, wait, there you are. Okay, found it.
And Holly had one too about people complaining about the cost of the flagship. Stephanie, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was reading it.
Okay.
I was reading. Okay, so Holly's comment was, I clam up when they moan over the cost of the flagship or the cost or the flagship idea, which, okay, so that's two different objections essentially.
True.
And kind of what I want to do is guide us through with this document, because I really want for you guys to go to your back office and print out that document. And the reason is because when you think about bringing on a new market partner, you want everything that you do, you want to be duplicatable. So if they were to come to you and say, hey, Taylor, I'm constantly getting these objections, then you can guide them and say, you know what, go to your resource library, search objections, and then print out that sheet. And then once they go over it, if they're still having issues, then they can get back to you. And that is why it's so important to make sure that you're pointing your market partners back to that resource library. And so the way that they have it broken down is that seems expensive. I mean, how many people have heard that? We all hear that, right? And the way that they say it is, I understand if you're not used to buying premium products, it can seem like a lot at first. And then they ask a question, right? So out of curiosity, what do you usually spend on your hair care products or your skincare products or your wellness products, right? Like whatever products it is that they're looking for, that is a way to get more information. Because guys, if they're buying Suave or whatever, Pantene, I don't even know how much that stuff costs anymore, but I can tell you it's a fraction of what our prices are. But that leads you into being able to talk about how our products are super concentrated, how they are more effective, how they last longer. I mean, there's been so many people out there that have done like the squirt. I know Amy Earl's done it where they like squirt the bottle over a certain number of days. And I think the bottle ended up lasting 4 to 6 months. And it's different for everybody. I mean, I wash my hair once a week. So a bottle of shampoo is going to last me a really, really long time, as opposed to somebody that washes on a daily basis or somebody that has extremely long, thick hair. So Tammy, if you want to we'll walk through that as if we can just kind of role play if you want.
Okay. Do you want me to go over the two, like Pat's or Holly's first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We can do Holly's.
Okay. So when people talk about, I'm going to handle the one about the cost of the flagship, I guess the $19.99 a month. Holly, I guess that's what you're talking about, or a year. I mean, oh my gosh, a lifetime. I know what the VIP works. $19.99 for a lifetime. That one, I feel like, yes, you can use the feel, felt, found. Well, let me take that back. I honestly don't feel like I've ever felt that way, because $19.99 for life. I've never thought that was, I can't relate to that one. So what I would do, I would personally say, do you have a membership at Sam's or Costco or something like that, right? Because most people do, and they pay that yearly, and it's a lot more than $19.99. And so with that, I would just say it's only a one-time fee. It's paid on your first order, and then you never have to pay it again. But what that gets you is, and then go over the perks with them and explain that, you know, compare that to what their membership is at Sam's or Costco, and keep, you know, like I said, go over the benefits with them, and then ask them, as far as if we're going to follow this, find out more, like what would keep you from being a VIP, and then explain or compare it to, sorry, I'm like trying to think how I would say this, like, because I'm not actually talking to a person, but to like compare that to what it would be retail. And so that's a one-time fee. And so I feel like that one is maybe a little bit harder to follow in this format. Stephanie, do you have a better way to do that one? But
No, I think that's perfect. And I think Ryan had a great point. Like when you're handling these objections, 90% of the time you are not on the phone with them, or you are not face to face with them. A lot of times you're texting them, right? You're texting them back and forth. You're sending them a Facebook message or an Instagram message or whatever. So it gives you time to kind of gather your thoughts, if you will. And you guys, we have an amazing team. So if you ever get an objection and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm supposed to say, put it in one of the chats, put it in the team page, and somebody will come back and be like, this is what I would say. This is how you handle it, because that's how you're going to learn. And I mean, I will still ask questions, no joke, literally ask Tammy, because I ask them all the time about which products to use, because that's not my strength. Like that is not my strong suit. And so there's nothing wrong with asking for that help when you need it. And so don't feel like you have to know everything when it comes to the objections, or to anything for that matter.
right.
Make sure that we are leaning on each other and helping each other through those objections, and through, you know, product recommendations or whatever.
Well,
The other thing
and
oh, go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to add to that, Stephanie. If you have a customer and they're signing up for the first time and they're not sure about that VIP, guys, 99% of the time, if they sign up with a VIP and you do a price comparison as retail, it's still cheaper with the $19.99 on it than it would be for them buying retail, just because of the discounts and everything, and what they would be paying in shipping, because shipping is adding on to retail. So doing that price comparison, once they see that, most people, they don't want to spend more. And then you just tell them that they still get the 30-day money back guarantee with their VIP purchase, right? So adding that on and showing them a cost comparison side by side, they're going to pick the VIP card.
Yeah. And usually, I mean, that's a great way to do it, is I'll say, well, if you do retail, because some people are just like, I don't want to do a flex ship. I'm not interested in that. I've been burned before. I mean, we've all been burned on an auto ship, right? Every single one of us. I still get burned on auto ships because they don't do what Mon8 does and send a reminder so that I can go in and cancel or push it back. I just have products that show up at my door. But if you show them the difference in the price, you know, retail versus VIP, and then let them make that decision. And then I'll also throw in, this is the retail price, this is the VIP price, but all of my customers are they really want the discounted price, and they usually go with that. So, and this month, especially with those no additional obligations, I mean, that has been really huge when I'm talking to people. Now, I know that's only temporary, so it's not something that we can lean on permanently, but it's definitely something worthy of talking about. Did that answer your question, Holly? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you had a second part too, right? About the flex ship. The flex ship itself, auto ship, flex ship.
Yes. And going back to the VIP, they weren't they're not upset about the 19.99. They think that the $84 minimum, that's what they moan over, that they got to spend that much money on their flex ship. But I can always
Okay,
remind them about the concentration of the product and how long it'll last. And
well, and also you're wanting to, I would explain to them, like when you're starting out, because for me, most people start off on hair care. And, you know, because I've had one lady go, oh, I just want shampoo, I don't want conditioner. Well, that's just education that they need, because every single part, you have to have conditioner. Everyone does, no matter what. You know, if you've got fine, thin hair, you still need conditioner to close the cuticle, to smooth it out, to protect the hair, for all the things that we know. And so a lot of that's just education. So I had this woman that only wanted shampoo. And so, well, then you can't be a VIP unless you order 3 bottles of shampoo. So I just had to like educate her on why we want to start with a basic system, like a foundation, because your shampoo, your conditioner, and your treatment and or styling product, though, you know, it usually takes 3 products, is your foundation to your hair care. And so when you buy that, you're not going to have to buy for quite some time. And then it's still breaking it down, because truly a bottle of shampoo is less than $10 a month for anyone, And most shampoos at the grocery store now are, you know, $7, $8 if you're looking at the higher end Pantene or whatever. But it's just kind of breaking it down. And we got to remember that people, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what we do. They're not as educated as we are in regards to our products and how and why they work. So once they get on those products, they're going to see how long they last. So in the beginning, they just need a little bit more education on what they're getting. And so the $84 for 3 products that are going to last that long. I mean, if they're getting a blowout or a, you know, blowout cream's going to last you a year. Right. So,
right.
Or for me, it does. And I use it every single time. So they're not understanding the concentration of it. And so that minimum of 84 is really, you just have to educate them about it, and then teaching them how they can order other things, whether within a different product line. A lot of times they just don't know, you know?
Right. Okay.
I love that. That's a great response, Tammy. I love that. I mean, it's true. Like, education is key, because we know that our products work so different than any other shampoo out there. And people don't know that. Like, we never knew, right? Like, think about how green we were when we started using Monat. We had no clue. We thought it was just another shampoo. And so it is very important to educate your customers and your potential customers, especially your potential customers. What does Monat do? Like, what it actually goes in and does. It's not just another shampoo. And so if you haven't taken your shampoo certification, you're going to get some knowledge there as well. Okay, there was another objection. I had it pulled up and I got out of it. Dang it.
It was Pat's about, hold on. Kimberly pasted it in here for us, and now I can't find it. Pat, what was it about people are telling you they're taking a break from Monat?
Yes. So I've reached out to a couple people, and they said, oh, yes, I was using Monat, but my lady stopped doing it, but I'm taking a break from it right now. And I'm like, I don't know what to say to that. Because I don't want to say it in a negative way, like, did you not like it? Or so I go, okay, well, can I reach out to you next month? That's what I've been saying. Or reach out to you later, but I don't know what's a good comeback to that.
Well, I would just treat it like a conversation that you're having with a friend. Obviously, you know them, right?
Yeah.
So just say, may I ask why you're taking a break from it? How long were you on it? What were you experiencing? To get them talking. Again, you're getting more information. And then depending on what they say, I mean, again, I don't know what they might say, but I would come back with, you know, if it's been a while since you've been on it, I would love to give you an updated consult and see if maybe a different product would be recommended for your needs, and see if you can give it a try. I'd be willing to work with you and do that with you, and just to kind of see what they're saying, you know, where they are, because a lot of times if they give such a vague response like that, that's not what the reason is. They're not taking a break. Either they don't, a lot of times it's they don't have the money, they're too busy, or, you know, or whatever, and they're just not going to come out and tell you that. But at least that way you can offer, because a lot of times I've had people come back, I mean, because a lot, you know, I have acquired many customers that originally signed up with someone else who either is terminated or they don't service them. And so I just kind of ask questions like that. And a lot of times when you offer a new consult and say, hey, we have so many new products, because guess what? If they're with someone like that, either terminated out or just didn't service their customers, they were probably never really too educated on the products that they're on and how everything works. And so sometimes people will come back and they'll go, oh my God, yeah, I'd love that. Or no, I was never told that, because a lot of customers I've gotten, like, they're not even aware they're supposed to be shampooing twice, you know, like they were whoever they were with, they could have told them, and then that person just didn't remember. But a lot of times they seem completely unaware. So I would just keep digging and ask a few questions. Don't just do like, okay, well, I'll call you later. Try to find out why, because you're literally just having a conversation. I think because it's Monate, people tend to tense up and go, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't want to be pushy or salesy, right? You're not being pushy or salesy, guys. If we have a business, we have to talk about our business and get rid of that fear of being salesy all the time, because they used it once, they liked it, or they were interested in it, but they might not have been educated enough on what they had or how to use it.
Okay.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Go for it.
People that I've approached in the past, they know that I sell it. When I see them later, they, you know, kind of walk by me. They don't want me to make eye contact with them because they're afraid to try to sell them some more. Should I just yank their hands down?
Do what?
Should I just yank their hands down?
Just take them down.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know. I mean, I would just talk to them about anything else but that, right? Make it a point to not even bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah, build the relationship. So even though you've talked to them about Monate in the past, and you feel like they're avoiding you, right? Continue building that relationship without any mention of Monate. And at some point, you may have another opportunity to talk about Monate again. Or if it's somebody that you are following on social media, or they're following you on social media, then when you're building that relationship, they're naturally going to see your stories. They're going to see your posts. And that's where you need to be incorporating Monate into your social media strategy in a non-salesy way. Okay. Jasmine, you have a question? Oh, hang on. Hang on.
I think
Jasmine,
Kimberly had another one. Hold on a second. I want to scroll back.
Okay, Jasmine.
It doesn't say you're muted, but I can't hear you. It says you're unmuted. Yeah, it says you were unmuted, but now I still can't hear you. Is it maybe your headset?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I just was trying to not compete with the television on the other room. But like as we're talking right now, I was just texting with a prospect, and this is happening to me a lot. I just talked to her. I've been talking to her for a while, and then finally she says, I would love to buy the shampoo, conditioning, and mask. I can try styling products once I see if I like the shampoo and conditioner. I wash my hair once a week, whatever. I do not want to get on a subscription at this time. And then I went on. Thank you so much. And I totally get it. These products are super concentrated, will last you a long time because nickel size, quarter size is needed. I'll be sending you a card for your review in your email. Taxes and shipping will apply. So just to reiterate, this month you can cancel membership without making the 2 additional flagship purchases. Flagship stands for flexible. You only order when you want, blah, blah, blah. Can be pushed 60 days at the time, whatever, till something is wanted, needed. And then I went on to the perks again. VIP get 15 to 25% off retail, free shipping, free gift of the month, access to flash sales. You know, I went over the points. And I just want to give you all the perks because there's many. And again, this month, no commitment. You can cancel in 60 days, no strings attached. And then she goes, thank you. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Do you still want me to send it as a retail or VIP? It's only $19.99 that you recoup on the first shipment. I'm blowing your phone, but I just tried to give you all the info. Nothing. I was like, I was just hearing this conversation right before this started. I'm like, okay.
So when did y'all just now stop talking? Like y'all were just now texting?
Yeah. My last text was at 8:47.
Oh, so 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was trying to do this and listen to you guys at the same time, but I was like, okay.
So just a couple things, and this is just my observation. I feel like you gave her too much information.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it can be like when we're giving them like this and that, like she already told you that she wanted the product, but she didn't want a subscription. So I would have just said, you know, your option, kind of like we said earlier, your options retail or VIP, and then give her the price for the retail and the price for the VIP and say, which one do you prefer? And I know like right now we really want those VIPs, but some people just aren't willing to budge. And now is like the perfect time for her to become a VIP because she doesn't have, you know, she doesn't have that commitment afterwards. I would just give it, if you don't hear back from her tonight, I'll send you some verbiage, but I would just follow back up with her tomorrow and say, hey, I know you were super interested in getting the products for whatever, you know, whatever solution you were solving, whatever problem you were solving. So if it was hair loss or, you know, damaged hair or whatever, hey, I know you were really excited to try the products for your damaged hair. I just wanted to follow up to make sure that I can help you get your order processed. And that way it's just kind of a lead back in. I feel like maybe right now she's a little overwhelmed just because it was a lot, you know. Tammy, do you have any feedback?
No, I agree. Give it some time. That was only like 10 minutes ago. And so she might, you know, be doing her evening routine, but I would just follow up tomorrow and just be willing to send her that retail card. I mean, I get it. I don't like doing retail either,
Right.
but in order to get her as your customer and to get what she wants, start there. And then you can, once she likes it, you know, then she can upgrade to VIP.
Right. I did the comparison, didn't send it to her because honestly, it was only like $2 difference. But then of course the shipping was going to be added to that. But just seeing it side by side, it was like 121 versus 123, you know.
Yeah. So when I do that, when I tell them, then I would add that shipping in, you know,
Yeah.
I would do the 121 or whatever you said. I would
Right.
add that, you know, $10 to $13 in for shipping because they just need to see that bottom line, right? They need to see, because that is a significant difference.
Right. And sometimes the shipping, depending on where they are and what they ordered is up to $14. So it does make a big difference, but do it all the way to the end where you can get that shipping total on there. And then, because that's the true comparison, the subtotal to the VIP is not the true comparison, you know? So I would do that, but I'm with Stephanie, just give it some time and reach out to her tomorrow and then honor her wishes as the retail for the first order for sure. I think, who was it? Kristen or Christy? Christy, you want to unmute yourself?
So I get a lot of, since I'm from Broward and a lot of my friends are from Miami, I was really close to the warehouse that Monet is at. And I get a lot of, they were VIPs under somebody else and they had the wrong products. That's why they didn't like it. How do you go about like switching it? If you've asked them for like, I would give them samples or try to give them samples with them taking the quiz, but they're just so, I don't want to say not interested, because they'll like my photos or interact with some of like the posts that I post, but they're not connecting. They wouldn't like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're not saying, yes, I actually want to take this quiz to try out what products best fits them.
And these are people that rolled up to you?
Yes, like
Correct.
before I would reach out to them because I didn't know that they were using it with another market partner, but whoever they were under either quit or they weren't giving them the correct products for their hair. Like the majority of my VIPs came from other market partners because they didn't like the products that the market partners were suggesting for them.
Right. And I guess that's why I'm having trouble so they rolled up to you, or they signed up under you?
So the way I'm
I'm try-
understanding is,
I'm trying to get both. Like, I have my VIPs now, which are fine, but I'm saying like new VIPs to get new people.
that are under other market partners, not market partners in her organization. Right?
Yeah, other ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
other.
Okay. Well, I think it's just the same thing. And I feel like people that you acquire or you get like that in that situation, they are harder because you don't have a connection with them at all. And I've tried to reach out to a lot of mine that have rolled up, and it's just harder for some reason. But as long as you've reached out, they have your contact information, you've offered to do a consult with them, an updated one, and to do new recommendations, that's pretty much all you can do until they're willing,
Okay. Do I stop talking to them because it's like they
No.
use the products, they didn't like it under the whoever they were under, or they're no longer VIPs.
Right. So you're
So
just
like I'm trying to get them back into Monet, but they're not going for it.
right. So I think that's just a relationship building. And if they're still sometimes they're engaging with your posts, that's what we're doing with just anybody. So you've got to treat them just like a brand new prospect, or we can't just make them do it because they used to be on it. So I personally think it's just more about building the relationship and moving on. Like, still continue engaging with them, but not expecting them to make that change because you don't know if they will. And unfortunately, that's what happens when people get exposed to Monade, and then they have people who don't, do the customer service that we expect,
You have a lot of that
do.
down here.
Yeah.
You have a lot. And that's why it's a lot harder, because everybody down here knows or think they know the bad in Monade.
Yeah, so I would just keep building the relationship, be positive, engaging with them, and then see what happens for sure.
Okay.
I would definitely not stop talking to them or start engage, if they reach out or they comment on your post, reply and respond back.
Okay.
Stephanie, do you have anything to add?
No, I just wanted to add that, even though they've used Monate before and maybe they didn't have a great experience, whether it was the product or whether it was the market partner that they were under, if you continue building that relationship, keep in mind that it does take 8 to 12 exposures before somebody actually says yes. And so even though they've been exposed, though, I feel like those people that have been exposed, you're going to have a harder time getting them to recommit because they've already had a bad experience, right? So I know for me personally, if I've tried a product and it didn't work for me, I mean, name a weight loss product, and I promise I've tried them all. If somebody were to come to me and say, hey, nope, you didn't use it right, or whatever, I would just be like, look, I'm just not interested, right? Like, I'm just not interested. So I think at some point you keep building the relationship, but you also have to know that those people are going to be twice as hard to get because they've already had that bad experience.
Okay.
So just
Thank
FYI.
you.
You're welcome. These are great questions. Does anybody have any other questions, or do you have anything that you want to add? Maybe you don't have a question. Maybe you have something that you see all the time, an objection that you see all the time, and a way that you handle it and it works really well for you. or you just have anything to share, period. Yes, Ryan, please. We always love to hear from you.
Okay, I'm not really good with words spoken, but I wanted to add this as I tried to comment in the chat earlier about when I worked at Geico. To this day, 20 years after I left that company, I would still recommend them to friends. Like I truly believe in the company. I think they're great. And so a lot of what I did, just so you guys know my experience there, is I started out as a sales rep on the phone, worked myself into training and then supervising. And if you know me, you know, I can't sell something unless I believe in something. And a lot of these objections, like I made a note to myself, it comes with belief, which stems to confidence. And so if you believe in the products and believe in the company, it's much easier to handle these objections. So sometimes we just have to have a self-check and go back to our beliefs in the products and the business. Because I could refer people to Geico all day long and I don't make a dime for it. So I think a lot of that will help you just kind of reevaluate, like, do you love the products? Do you believe in the products? Do you love this company? And it will make it much easier to handle these conversations going forward. But please reach out to someone. It's always good to bounce off these conversations. Even after 4 years, if I could throw something at somebody else, they'll see something different that I won't see because you're in it, right? And so it's like a one-track focus, but always feel free to bounce conversations over to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always say you're in this business for yourself, but never by yourself.
Mhm.
And it is because of the support that we have. So always, I mean, and if you don't feel like you're connected or you have an accountability group, feel free. Like I said, there's a ton of team chats out there. There's the Facebook groups. So just pop those questions in there and I can guarantee you're going to get several different responses that might all be a little bit different, but then it will help you find your way to share what works best for you. Like there's no one perfect script. There's no one perfect way. It is all about the relationship that you have with the person that you're talking to. So kind of to Tammy's point earlier, you know, when you bring those you bring those market partners on who bring those VIPs on, that market partner stops working the business and then those VIPs roll up. Well, they don't know me from Adam, right? Like to them, I'm just a salesperson, right? I'm not their friend. They don't know, like, and trust me. So it's harder to build that bridge, to connect to them, to know that I am truly just trying to help them, right? Because I believe in the products, I believe in the business, and I know what they can do. So a lot of times it is just about that relationship and just continuing to build that relationship. And that's internal with your team. And that's external, you know, with your market partners and your VIPs, and then, you know, take it even a level further, their VIPs. So this was great. Thank you guys so much for your engagement, for asking the questions. And I guess we will see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.